Well, the Bears are the worst team in the NFC now. You happy yet? Sports Talk Chicago. Here with Jon Zaghloul. In this video, going to break down the Bears-Falcons game from Sunday, explain what happened, what it means for them moving forward. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, set up notifications so you don't miss a thing. Talk Chicago Bears daily. We also have interviews with former Bears players and guests who cover the Bears in all sports here in Chicago and across the country. Follow me on Twitter at Jon Z Sports, Facebook Jon Zaghloul, and Instagram at Jon Z Sports. To watch more of this show, head on over to sportstalkchicago.com and subscribe to our YouTube page. I want to start today with this. Pretty obvious at this point that the Bears are tanking. I find it disgraceful. I am not a supporter of it whatsoever, but what other conclusion am I supposed to draw based on how the Falcons game went? The Bears were up by 10. We were streaming. Bears were up by 10. We were talking about it. People in the stream were so excited about a potential Bears victory. Why wouldn't you be? The Bears played well. They were up by 10, 17-7. They were dominating at one point. Similar to the Lions game, it looked as if they were going to win. And yet somehow, some way, they managed to blow it again. I mean, at this point, it's on purpose. How could you not see it? Up by 10 against freaking Atlanta. The Bears blew it again. Purposefully. They are tanking, and there's no doubt about it. Based on my previous comment, the Bears are the worst team right now in the NFC. Second worst team in football. Third overall pick at this point, if the draft came today. Tell me the Bears aren't tanking. They're doing their best to lose more games and get a better draft pick. And, well, some of you may argue that's okay. Some of you may say the Bears should be doing this. They're rebuilding anyway. I go back to the original point. You are hurting your team culture. This is the second week in a row the Bears have blown a 10-plus point lead and gone on to lose. How do you learn how to win games with a new head coach, a new GM, and a new team if you're blowing games left and right? 10 points or more. Meaning you're dominating. You're winning handily, and you just blow it. How are you supposed to learn as a team how to win? What is a win? How do we fight to maintain a lead and win a game? Execute? Winning culture. I mean, I can't even bet on the Bears anymore. I don't pick them to win. And there was no reason why they should have lost anyway. I picked them to lose because I know better, but why should they have lost? Atlanta's not impressive. They're not great. They're average. They're a 500 team. They're 5-6. The Bears should have won this game. The Bears were winning this game. They looked like a lock to win. Just find it sad. We all know this is a rebuild. We all know this is not what they're supposed to be. There's greater things to come. But had the Bears actually tried or played their cards right, they could be a 500 team right now. They could be a playoff team right now. Not kidding. Look at the games they've lost. Look at the teams they've lost to. They're better than the Giants. They're better than Detroit, and they're better than Atlanta. Talent-wise, they are. On paper, they are. And yet, they've lost all those games. They've blown 2 straight weeks, 10-plus point leads. They're the only team in NFL history, get this, to lose 3 straight games scoring 29 or more points. Only team in history. Nobody else in 103 years has matched that level of mediocrity. Tell me they're not tanking. Tell me they're not trying to lose. Come on. The game itself was okay for Justin Fields, 14 of 21, 153 yards, 1 touchdown, but the pick, and we'll talk more about that situation in a second, end of the game. Fields 85 yards on the ground, David Montgomery 67, Tristan Ebner only 8, did not look too good. The Bears defense played okay, but they did let Marcus Mariota pass for 131 yards and a touchdown, no picks. I think the real problem was the Bears did not capitalize on takeaways. The Bears forced a couple of fumbles, and yet they lost the game. Bears dominated in time of possession. Bears dominated in third down efficiency. Had more first downs. The Bears played a decent game offensively, and defensively they did what they were supposed to do. We've talked all week about takeaways. We've talked about how the Bears have not had many as of late. They forced 2. Should have won the game. But no. They blew it. They lost. Their biggest issue, once again, is penalties. 7 penalties, 56 yards given up. So the Bears had 2 takeaways, yet 7 penalties, and lost the game. You know, at some point, you could only say tanking will take the Bears so far, right? I mean, don't you have a bad taste in your mouth after a game like this? Then, don't even get me started. A minute 47 to go. The Bears trying to come back. Justin Fields gets hit. His shoulder's hurt. He's supposed to be day-to-day. They run him again. Luke Getsy. Now they're coming out saying, media, that, supposed to be a run for David Montgomery. It was on Justin Fields. Miscommunication. I didn't see anything there. I saw a designed Justin Fields run. That's what I saw when I watched the game. They could try and spin this any way they want to help out Luke Getsy, but the fact is, I think they left Fields out to dry. I was not happy with their inability to protect their QB. You know, for all of you who want Justin Fields to succeed, for everybody saying we want him to be the guy, well, guess what? You got to protect him too. He was obviously hurt. They probably should have put in Trevor Siemian because then Fields threw a pick, and that was a horrible pass, but he was in pain too. What do you expect? This guy's hurt, and you run a design run again, then he gets hit in the head, nobody calls a penalty. What are we doing here? How is this okay for the Bears? And that's my main problem with everything that happened yesterday, not even mentioning the 10-point lead. Blown. The Bears dominated this game, had a 10-point lead, blew it, and then hung Justin Fields out to dry a bit. They did. What's the old parental adage? I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. It's the same thing here. I'm not mad, and I am mad, but I'm mainly disappointed. The tanking argument can only go so far. I want to see some sort of competitiveness and wins. You are not going to build a culture blowing 10-point leads in back-to-back weeks. Sorry. 100% true. You are not going to build a winning culture, a culture predicated on success with a new coach, new GM, new players, if you're blowing leads every week. This is not funny. I don't care if it's tanking or not. This is wrong. And this is an indictment on the Bears as a roster, but also a little bit on Matt Eberflus. What's going on down there? Why are we blowing 10-plus point leads 2 weeks in a row and losing to teams you should be beating? And then, Luke Getsy, why are you running Justin Fields after you know his shoulder's hurting? I just don't like this situation, this entire way the Bears are doing operations here. You left your QB out to dry. You're losing games and blowing leads. Now they are the worst team in the NFC. And if the objective is to get a high draft pick, they're going to succeed. But remember this. There's a culture that needs to be built. You have to build a culture. Matt Eberflus was brought in to win, right? Ryan Poles brought in to win, brought in to be different than the status quo, be different than Matt Nagy and Brian Pace. But we all know the Bears aren't going to be there this year. I'll say this. Everybody will remember blowing all these games come next year. You have not developed a culture yet. That's a fact. Had the Bears developed a culture, had the Bears been all about helping this team grow and succeed, we wouldn't be seeing undisciplined play, bad penalties, running Justin Fields when he's hurt, blowing 10-plus point leads. See what I mean? That's the part that's frustrating. Again, I'm not mad, even though I am. I'm disappointed. The Bears know better. Matt Eberflus, Ryan Poles, everybody knows better. Luke Getsy knows better. Don't be running your quarterback when his shoulder hurts. Why are we blowing 10-plus point leads 2 weeks in a row? Why are the penalties adding up when the whole mantra of the Bears is hits and discipline? There was no discipline. There's been no discipline the past 3 or 4 weeks. It's so funny. Justin Fields breaks out, and then penalties increase. And the Bears' play somehow gets worse, and they're losing more games, and they have a 4-game losing streak. It's head-scratching. You think with Fields doing better, they get better. Like early in the year, Fields sucked. Bears were winning. Now Fields is doing great. Bears are losing. I don't understand, but I'm not satisfied nor happy with this stuff. And with me, tanking can only go so far. And by the way, this was not a moral victory. Second week in a row where I've seen people say it's a moral victory, move on. No. A moral victory means you played your heart out, you nearly won it, the other team simply beat you. No, the Bears beat themselves again. Again, they did that. They were up by 10. There is no moral victory when you blow a 10-point lead, then lose the game late. So no moral victory this week. No victory of any kind this week. It was a tank job. It was a joke. The Bears should have won this game. And I am not satisfied nor happy with their performance. Justin Fields looked fine. I mean, he threw the ball more, which was nice. A lot of people commenting saying that Fields did not throw enough. You got to remember, Fields scrambled a lot yesterday. Why? Pressure. Pocket collapsing. Fields was pressured so much. No protection from the offensive line. So Fields should have thrown more. There are probably more designed pass plays, but because of horrible protection, he had to run. He did okay. I'd love to crush him more for the interception late in the game, but he was hurt. Really, what should have happened, seriously, is Trevor Siemian probably should have come in. Not because Fields sucks, but because Fields was hurt. I mean, he was holding his shoulder, whether it's non-throwing or not. I mean, that's going to affect you. Trying to throw a football, that was a jump throw he made too. He jumped up and threw it. It was weak and then picked. He was not feeling well. He was not healthy. He's supposed to be day-to-day now, but still. At that point, you put in your backup and you have him trying to lead you to a victory, and you make sure your starting QB, your future, is okay. The Bears didn't do that. It seems like week after week we see more failures coaching-wise between Matt Eberflus and Luke Getsy. This reflects on Matt Eberflus big time, and the Bears aren't going to fire him. I mean, he's going to be here for at least 2 more years, but just keep this all in mind. 2 straight weeks, 10-plus point leads, blown, incinerated. Bears lose games after winning by 10 and 14. How do you justify that? The Bears are tanking. That's the justification. That's not a good enough answer to me. We got to remember this stuff. I know the objective is Justin Fields. Of course it is. But as a team, blowing leads like that 2 weeks in a row, being undisciplined defensively and with penalties in general, it kind of shows a bit of regression on Matt Eberflus's part. That's something we should be concerned about and following for the rest of the season. We have seen regression right now from Matt Eberflus. Can't argue with it. That's a fact. And although Fields has progressed and the offense has progressed, Eberflus and his philosophies and this team's performance overall, everything, all-encompassing, has regressed. Matt Eberflus is all about discipline, all about hits. We see more penalties. We see more blown leads. We see 10-plus point leads being blown 2 weeks in a row. And we see Justin Fields running after being killed in his shoulder. I really think the coaching is going to be under immense scrutiny these next couple of weeks. This is an indictment coaching-wise. The Bears lost yesterday. The Bears lost to Detroit. An indictment on the coaching more than anybody else. We need to see more discipline out of this team. We're not seeing that. And there's only so much Justin Fields could do. When you're being pressured constantly, when you are injured and still having to run a quarterback-designed run with your shoulder hurt, I mean, what are we doing? I don't know if Fields is going to play this weekend. We're going to have to see. If he doesn't, or even if he does, I think the Bears should be expected to win. And I say expected in quotes because if the Bears are tanking, I'm not going to pick them to win. But really, if we're looking just on paper, the Bears should win this game. They're facing Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, at this point, is a bust. The Bears have to win that game. We can't be bargaining with anybody. The Bears should be winning against New York on Sunday. And if they don't, that's another failure by Eberflus and company. They need to stop failing, and somebody needs to hold them accountable. We are all infatuated, rightfully so, with Justin Fields and his development. But what about Matt Eberflus? What about blowing 2 10-plus point leads? Where's the accountability there? Something to think about. Same for Luke Getsy calling that play with Fields. Luke Getsy has done a good job at adjusting to Fields, but that was just a stupid play call. And that whole drive was just horrible. You got a minute 47. That's a chance for you to win the game, even just to get a field goal to tie it. The Bears couldn't even do that. That was sad. And Fields and Getsy and Eberflus, everybody needs to be trained and learn how to do a 2-minute drill. And look, if Fields is hurt next time, if something happens to Fields for inside 2 minutes, you take him out, you put in Trevor Siemian. I mean, it's not a disciplinary benching. It's, hey, he's hurt and we need to win this game. The Bears, obviously, another reason why I think they're tanking, they didn't do that. They kept Fields in hurt. They kept him in hurt. They let him get hit again. And Fields, weakly, because he's already hurt, throws a pick easily. Of course it's going to happen. This was a professional tank job. The Bears are continuing to tank. Nobody can convince me otherwise here. And if you like that, that's fine. That's your prerogative. I don't, simply because you need to build a culture. And they're not doing that today. This is not a culture. It's a culture of tanking and a culture of losing and a culture of blowing leads and undisciplined penalties. This is not something you want to be associated with. So something needs to change. And if I were you, as you watch the Bears this week and even for the rest of this year, pay attention to Matt Eberflus. Justin Fields, number one, of course, but Eberflus second. We need to see the discipline from the beginning of the year continue. The Bears have been a rough patch. Eberflus's philosophy of hits seems to no longer be working. We're seeing more penalties, less takeaways, although the Bears had 2 yesterday, but overall less takeaways too. So the things that Eberflus preaches are not being practiced, and they were being practiced before. So something's wrong there. The Bears are blowing 10-plus point leads in 2 straight games. The Bears are the worst team in the NFC, the second worst team in the NFL. You could chalk it all up to tanking if you want, but I'm going to say this. Part of this lies on Eberflus's shoulders, and we have to watch and hold him accountable moving forward. If the Bears are winning, and if they turn things around, I'm not going to be pissed, but you can't say this is all tanking and just completely not care about what else is going on for this team. Justin Fields, as we've seen, cannot single-handedly help the Bears out right now. Fields is playing well, and the Bears are still losing. So what else is going on, and what do the Bears need to address for next year? Well, Eberflus's philosophies are, for some reason, not resonating with Bears players. And the Bears are not practicing what he preaches. So how could that be fixed? And what will the Bears do to fix that and build a winning culture before next year when you have all this money to spend and then you're going to be a real contender? The Bears should be expected next year to be a playoff team. No doubt about it. And if they're not, that's a failure. So what are they doing today to get to that point? Right now, they're taking steps backwards, not forwards. That's what concerns me. We have to expect the Bears win this week, too. Even if they're going to lose or they're trying to tank, if you lose to Zach Wilson, who, by the way, has worse numbers right now than Jamarcus Russell and Johnny Manziel. If you lose to Zach Wilson and the Jets, I think it's time to really have a serious talk about this Bears team. Can't be losing those games. It's concerning. This loss to Atlanta, although it was expected, it was concerning. They need to start winning games they should be winning. They need to build a culture of success, not failure, not, oh, we tried, not we're trying to tank, not a tanking culture, a winning culture. There's a difference. Because you know what? Tanking cultures don't always lead to winning cultures. How many teams over the years have tanked or have just been bad and are still bad? Detroit being one of them. Top of my mind. right? Detroit has always been bad. They're always looking for the top pick, and you know what? They're still mediocre. They still suck, and they're not going anywhere. Miami, for the longest time, had the tanking culture, too. If you start and you make it okay and you make it acceptable to tank, players will know that. Players see it. And then come next year when the Bears should be good, they're not going to be good. Or they're going to be average. Or they're going to go below expectations. This is why it's important to teach a team how to win. The Bears aren't doing that right now. And until they do, we're going to see more of these BS losses. For lack of a better term, BS losses. The Bears should have won this game. We all know it. You and I both know it. The Bears were winning this game. It's unacceptable that they lost this game, that they blew it. So my hope is that things improve moving forward. But do me a favor, as you watch the rest of this year, pay close attention to this entire team and not just Justin Fields. Because if you do, you're going to realize the Bears still have other problems that need to be fixed. If they don't fix them, it's going to be a losing and a tanking culture moving forward, even when they should be good. Thanks for watching today's show here on YouTube. Really appreciate the time. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports, Facebook, Jon Zaghloul. Want to watch more of this show? Head on over to sportstalkchicago.com. So long, everyone.